Hannibal Barca is a name that echoes through the annals of history, remains one of the most formidable and brilliant military commanders to have ever lived. Born in 247 BC, in the powerful city-state of Carthage, he was destined for a life of conflict and glory. His father, Hannibal Barca, was himself a renowned general, a veteran of the First Punic War, who harbored a deep-seated animosity towards the burgeoning Roman Republic. It is said that as a young boy, Hannibal was made to swear a sacred oath upon an altar, vowing eternal enmity towards Rome. This oath would become the driving force behind his life's ambition, to challenge and humble the might of Rome. Hannibal's military education began at an early age, accompanying his father on campaigns in Spain. There, he learned the arts of war, from strategy and tactics to logistics and leadership. He honed his skills, demonstrating a natural aptitude for command that earned him the respect and loyalty of his soldiers. Upon the assassination of his brother-in-law, Hasdrubal the Fair, in 221 BC, the army unanimously proclaimed Hannibal as their new commander-in-chief. At the age of 26, he now held the reins of Carthage's most powerful army, a force he would soon lead on an audacious and unprecedented campaign. His first major act was the siege of Saguntum, a Roman allied city in Spain, a deliberate provocation that would ignite the Second Punic War. With the war now declared, Hannibal unveiled his master plan, a strategy so bold and unexpected that it would catch the Romans completely off guard. He would not wait for the Romans to come to him. He would take the war to the heart of Italy itself. To do this, he would have to lead his army, including his famous war elephants, on an epic journey across the treacherous Pyrenees and the formidable Alps. In the spring of 218 BC, Hannibal set out from his base in Spain with a massive army of over 100,000 men and 37 elephants. The journey through the Pyrenees was fraught with challenges, as they had to battle their way through hostile local tribes. After crossing the Pyrenees, they marched through southern Gaul, skillfully avoiding a Roman army sent to intercept them. Now, the greatest challenge of all lay before them, the snow-capped peaks of the Alps. The crossing of the Alps was a monumental undertaking, a feat of military logistics and sheer human endurance that had never been attempted before. The army faced treacherous paths, narrow and slippery with ice, where a single misstep could send a man or an elephant plummeting to their death. The weather was their most formidable enemy, with blizzards and freezing temperatures taking a heavy toll on the soldiers, many of whom were from the warm climates of Africa and Spain. Hostile mountain tribes launched surprise attacks, rolling boulders down on the marching column from the cliffs above. Hannibal, ever the resourceful leader, used his elephants to scatter the attackers, their terrifying presence proving to be a powerful weapon. The elephants themselves suffered greatly during the crossing, their large bodies struggling to navigate the narrow paths and endure the extreme cold. At one point, the path was blocked by a massive rock slide, and Hannibal's engineers had to heat the rocks with fire and then douse them with wine to crack them open. After 15 days of unimaginable hardship, Hannibal and his depleted army finally emerged from the Alps and descended into the Po Valley of northern Italy. His army had been reduced to a fraction of its original size, with only 26,000 men and a handful of elephants surviving the ordeal. But they had achieved the impossible, and the Romans were now faced with a formidable enemy on their own soil. Hannibal's arrival in Italy marked the beginning of a series of stunning victories that would shake the Roman Republic to its core. At the Battle of the Trebia, he used the cold and the river to his advantage, luring the Romans into a trap and inflicting a crushing defeat upon them. At the Battle of Lake Trasimene, he ambushed a Roman army in a narrow defile, trapping them between the lake and the hills and annihilating them. His greatest victory, however, came at the Battle of Cannae in 216 BC, a masterpiece of tactical genius that is still studied in military academies today. He deliberately weakened his center, allowing the Romans to push through, and then enveloped them with his stronger infantry and cavalry on the flanks. The result was a catastrophic defeat for the Romans, with tens of thousands of their soldiers killed or captured. The victory at Cannae sent shockwaves throughout the ancient world and brought Rome to the brink of collapse. Many of Rome's allies in southern Italy defected to Hannibal's side, and for a time, it seemed as though Carthage would finally triumph. However, Hannibal's success was not without its challenges. He lacked the siege equipment to take the heavily fortified city of Rome itself. He also struggled to maintain his supply lines and receive reinforcements from Carthage, which was hampered by Roman naval supremacy. The Romans, under the leadership of the cautious but determined Fabius Maximus, adopted a strategy of avoiding direct confrontation with Hannibal and instead waging a war of attrition. For over a decade, Hannibal campaigned in Italy, a constant threat to the Romans, but unable to deliver the final, decisive blow. Meanwhile, the Romans, under the brilliant young general Scipio Africanus, took the war to Carthage's territories in Spain and North Africa. Scipio's victories forced the Carthaginian Senate to recall Hannibal from Italy to defend his homeland. The final, decisive confrontation of the Second Punic War took place at the Battle of Zama in 202 BC. In a reversal of fortunes, it was Scipio who now employed superior tactics, using his cavalry to outmaneuver Hannibal's forces. Hannibal's war elephants, which had once struck terror into the hearts of the Romans, were effectively neutralized by Scipio's clever use of trumpets and skirmishers. The Battle of Zama resulted in a decisive victory for the Romans and a crushing defeat for Hannibal, his first and only major loss. Carthage was forced to sue for peace, accepting harsh terms that stripped it of its empire and military power. Despite his defeat, Hannibal remained a respected figure in Carthage and was elected as a magistrate, where he implemented political and financial reforms. However, his reforms angered the corrupt aristocracy, who conspired with the Romans to have him exiled. Forced to flee his beloved city, Hannibal spent the rest of his life as a fugitive, seeking refuge in the courts of various Hellenistic kings. He continued to offer his military expertise to those who would challenge Rome, a thorn in the side of his old enemy until the very end. The Romans, relentless in their pursuit, eventually cornered him in Bithynia, in modern-day Turkey debt. Rather than face the humiliation of capture, Hannibal chose to take his own life, drinking a vial of poison he had long carried with him. His last words were reportedly, "Let us relieve the Romans of their long-standing anxiety, since they do not have the patience to wait for an old man's death." Hannibal Barca's legacy is one of a military genius who dared to challenge the greatest power of his time. His crossing of the Alps with elephants remains one of the most audacious and celebrated military achievements in history. He was a master of strategy and tactics, a charismatic leader who inspired unwavering loyalty in his diverse army. Though he ultimately failed to conquer Rome, his campaign in Italy brought the Republic to its knees and left an indelible mark on its history and psyche. Hannibal's story is a timeless tale of ambition, courage, and the relentless pursuit of a lifelong vow. His name will forever be remembered as the general who crossed the Alps with elephants, a symbol of audacity and military genius.